Hearty respect to you, everyone. We often listen about spirituality, and sometimes people say the person is spiritual or he or she is spiritual practitioner or very spiritual person he is, she is. It means indirectly the person who is spiritual, that means he is apart, sorry, from others field, or he or she is not in other fields, or sometimes there may be adverse mentality in the person's mind to any other field because he is spiritual. Sometimes we think so or believe in this way due to ignorance. This type of belief or thinking arises. That means we have no clear idea or conception about spirituality or what the actual spirituality is. What is the spirituality? Spirituality, the word comes from the very word spirit. Spirit. The word is used sometimes as synonym of soul or the self. In Sanskrit, it's called Atman or Atma. Then self, from self to spirit, from spirit to spirituality. It's the linking line. So everyone has self inside. Now, what's the self? Self is the own existence which reveals each and every thoughts or nook and corner of the mind very naturally, because this spirit or the self is nothing but the sense here. It's a very hint. Sense. Self is nothing but the sense. Through this hint, one seeker can easily reach the very realization of the self. I mean, one seeker can easily reach to the very realization of the self. with the help of the hint. The hint is nothing but sense or consciousness. Self is that consciousness which knows everything. The mental process which goes on inside continuously. This process is known by the self. Here, self means the limitless light, the very platform of existence. It's the self. When one's intellect becomes ever about the existence or about the nature of the self, then all the conflicts naturally drop down or disappear from the mind or the intellect. So, spirituality, the word is from the spirit or the self. Everyone has self. That's why the person who is spiritual in true sense or who is with the realization of enlightenment or with self realization, how is it possible to be apart from any other field? The person whose intellect has the realization of the self, it doesn't mean that he or she is apart from other fields. Yet, people think so. It's nothing but an ignorance or blunder. But the reality is completely different. The person whose intellect is really with self realization or with enlightenment, he or she is much more able to go or to enter into any field just after having very light hints, because it's very clear idea in his or her intellect about the mind, because as existence the person always, as witness consciousness, the person always knows every nook and corner of the mind, all the mood variations of the mind, so and so. Because his or her intellect is already stabilized that my existence is nothing but pure consciousness, and all the game of minds, all the game of mind is going on the surface of the consciousness. But I am pure consciousness. It's his or her realization inside. Standing on this realization, the person is completely apart from all the feelings, even after knowing all the feelings or all the very taste of the feelings. On the other hand, it's also possible by her or he to go or to enter into any field very easily because his or her mind is completely under control very naturally, not by force, because the intellect has already become aware about the pure consciousness. There's nothing but own existence. Just after having this realization, it's very natural that mind will be under control always without any effort because mind has already got the very shelter of peace. That's why mind is always under control or in rest. So, one realized person is able to utilize own intellect in any field according to own choice. It's very natural. In one side, the person is in spontaneous peace. I mean, his or her intellect due to self-realization. In other side, I mean, in the side of implementation, the intellect is much more sufficient or able to be utilized according to need. That's why the Vedic sages used to provide supreme force to attain self-realization. Otherwise, how is it possible to bring proper balance in mind? It's never possible. There is no compromise about it or to express it. It's a reality. Anyone can test it or examine it. The statement is right or wrong. Just anyone can test it. But this testing must be from an impartial point of view. Then the impartial judgment will be revealed. So, this false belief that one spiritual person is not able to be in other fields. It's entirely wrong or false belief. In maximum times, this belief survives due to ignorance. In short, one spiritual person, one spiritual student or pupil is sufficiently able to utilize own intellect, own physique in proper way. And it's very natural, it will bring satisfactory result in life in all aspects. That's why, my respected viewers, if there are a few thinkers or educationists, please think it seriously and do what to do, please.